What's up, boys? Yes, it's been a while. I know. I've been busy. I've been busy, but I also have had a little bit of time on my hands. I got the FID Diff. It came in the mail yesterday. I had been bugging the lady that you communicate with, via AliExpress, and it's so funny because the messages that you get, in response to whatever you send are really, I don't know, they can be interesting, sometimes make very little sense. But basically, they told me to keep waiting and that it was on its way, and they were right. I paid $65 for it via AliExpress. This is the low C 5T Senna Diff. And it's funny because the ad on AliExpress, it says that it's a front diff. If you look it up, you'll see what I'm talking about. And it says that it's a front diff. But of course, we know it's a Senna diff when you're looking at it in the pictures. So it was $65. I paid $2 extra for e-packet, which I've had good luck with, and reasonably quick shipping from China. This particular time, I really didn't have that good of luck. I mean, it said that the buyer had, or the seller rather, had 7 days to ship it before I could request my money back. And I didn't realize that until after the fact, and I was kind of like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of shit is that? But so I contacted them like the third day in because nothing had happened. They hadn't even processed my order. And as soon as I contacted them, they processed my order. She responded, said yada, yada, yada. But then it just said that it was en route to the destination or whatever for like 2 weeks. And finally it arrived in Miami, shipped to Orlando, and boom, it was here. And I'm really pleased with it. I had a feeling I would be. This is my first FID product. This is for the X2, the King Motor X2. I'm happy to finally have what I hope is a solution for all the diff issues that I've had. It feels really nice, and the machining looks good. It's really lightweight. I chose to go with the silver one. Again, I paid $65. It comes with a really thick gasket in comparison to what was on my X2. I believe I have it somewhere around here. And so, yeah, it came with this gasket. It came with this side installed. That's one of the nice things about this diff. If you're not familiar with it, it comes apart on both sides, unlike the stock one that you can only, in order to access the other side of the diff, you have to pull all the guts out. This one here will allow you to access both sides. So this top piece is really kind of cool looking. It's got a little bit of weight to it, and you can tell by looking at it, it's got weight to it. So it feels beefy. And in the picture on the ad, they show this O-ring separate. But mine was installed. I just took these 4 screws out, and the seal feels really good. And another thing about this diff that is, somebody had asked me, well, why didn't you go with the TLR version? The TLR Senna diff. And to be honest, I think initially I told them I don't know. No particular reason. And then I realized, wait, there is a reason. I mean, there's a reason I chose this diff over any other. A, because of the price. B, I wanted to try out an FID product. And C, because a lot of big bore guys run this diff and have had, from what I can tell, good luck with it. I like this design with this center bearing here. I believe that will help. I believe it was well thought out. And I also like that it has an O-ring on the outer edge and an O-ring on the inner edge right behind the bearing. However, mine did not come with both O-rings. I'll try to do my best. You can see the black O-ring. In the picture they're red. You can see the black O-ring on the outer edge, but see right above my thumbnail, there's supposed to be a black O-ring there. So that's a bummer. If I didn't have any O-rings, I'd be screwed. I mean, October's right around the corner, guys. I'm trying to get this truck ready, And this is the last piece of the puzzle, I hope, if I can control myself. So yeah, that O-ring's missing. I'll show you if I can. It's a double O-ring setup. Damn, this phone, I'm not filming with my camera, so forgive me here. And yeah, you can see the outer one right there. But the inner one, there's a groove there, but nothing there. So I was going to pull the bearing out, and that proved to be pretty difficult. I don't want to score it up, putting a flathead in there and trying to push it out. I don't want to put heat on it and destroy that O-ring. So I'm going to have to take that O-ring out. If I do have to put some heat on this bearing, it looks like it's pressed in there fairly well. And I can't get my pinky in there to try to like use friction to pull it out, you know. It's just too small. So yeah, I mean, that's an issue. I have these three, this one being the thinnest, a little bit thicker, really thick. This one definitely doesn't look like it would work, but out of the three that I have that look like they could work, you know, the question is at this point, can I get it in there right, if it will work. But yeah, so I mean, that's kind of a bummer, but I guess it is what it is. My last video I talked about the Avid bearings. If you guys haven't checked out their website, I definitely recommend it. You can buy them by the kit, really, really cheap, you know, in comparison to some of the other prices out there for bearing kits for the fifth scales. I believe they have a Baja kit, but I know they definitely have a low C5T kit. And I got these, you know, they allow you to just pick which bearings you want. These were $1.50 a piece, so I paid $3, $3 in shipping, and I got a, I don't know, I got a ton of stickers, man. They sent me like $5 worth of stickers. So that was cool, and I love stickers. And I've had some time on my hands, so I finally organized this bin and made it, you know, reasonably user-friendly, you know, as far as like having a pit box, you know, or you know, a track day box. Everything O-ring. Nothing really organized by size, but more by style, you know. And I'm hoping it'll stay this way. It's not easy to stay organized sometimes, but I do the best I can. I bought this a while back at this box a while back at Harbor Freight for like, I don't know, a couple bucks. So I've been meaning to organize it. If you guys haven't done this yet, I definitely recommend taking the time to do it, because, you know, once you have everything in one place, it just makes it so much easier to you know, to get at stuff and get the job done. And I got this little guy here, which is what I was using for a while. I mean, this is how relatively new I am to RC. This was, you know, this was my, this was it for a while. And I'm still going to use it because it's still, you know, of course, you can see the big one's filled. And I'm going to use this for like smaller stuff, you know what I mean? Got some random, you know, random boxes. These are the Team Fast Eddie shim kits. All different sizes, washes, you know, shims, what have you. Eclipse, some random Integy stuff I picked up just to have for like $1, you know, $2. I think more Team Fast Eddie. These are washes. But yeah, so I mean, I got my couple boxes, these organizers cleaned up and organized, and now it's time to get this diff together and put that 100K in there. See how it goes. I already got the 60K up front. Like I said, the X2 is ready to rock and roll. I was just waiting on this diff, and I'm really excited. I like it. It's pretty sick. It definitely looks like it'll do the job. I'm just a little disappointed about that damn O-ring because, you know, that just sucks. I don't want to have to pull the bearing out. It's clearly pressed in there, but I need to get an O-ring in there. I'm assuming I could get it in without pulling the bearing out, you know. and I'm just hoping one of these is going to fit. So it came with the hardware too. I don't know if you had to notice the bag laying here. So hardware, gasket, this O-ring, which of course I believe this is, yes, this is the side that this goes on, right? Yeah, just like that. So I'll let you guys know how this diff works out. I'm sure you'll, you'll hear me either bitching about it or, bragging about it throughout the season. Hopefully I'm bragging about it because I'm sick and tired of buying shit that, that just doesn't work, or, just turns out to be shit. Hence the name of the channel. And there's not much left in my garage. All my trucks are in the house. I've got a Nissan Altima in here with a no start. So I just picked up one of those Bluetooth OBD scanners, and I got to spend some time under the hood. Yeah. So all my trucks are in the house right now, which, to be honest, I kind of like them in the house. Most of them, they're all clean anyway. You guys know that. I don't have time to actually use the damn things. I just build them and make videos about them. I'm kidding. Well, stay tuned, guys. I hope you like the diff. Like I said, kind of a bummer it didn't come with that gasket. So if you do end up ordering one of these, let them know in advance that you had a buddy who got his and it was missing one of the O-rings. So you want to make sure that they check it out first. This little orange tool pouch, I can't remember the name of the seller, but this is the second time they've sent me this tool pouch as like a gift. And it's clear that it is a toolkit, I think, right? The last time they sent it to me was when I picked up these 1-inch extenders for the Baja, and I cut the bag and I cut the top right off of it. I didn't know it was in there. I wasn't expecting them to actually give me a gift. I mean, normally you get what you get and that's it. You're lucky if you get the damn pot. So yeah, that's what they gave me as a gift, which is cool. I'm not complaining. I'm going to see if I can get this diff together. I'll do another video when the truck's all back together and, see where it goes from there. Hopefully we can get it out a couple times before track day and, work the bugs out of it and get it tuned, because I still don't think I really ever got full potential out of that G320 last year. So I only had it, I only ran it maybe a half a dozen times, if that. And I really didn't spend much time actually tuning it. I kind of just threw it on the track and let it rip. Thanks for watching, guys. The hardware that they give you is a little shorter than what the stock center diff calls for. It's where is it? Essentially the same size as this, which is for the spur. I mean for the spur gear. And this is what normally goes in the spur gear. And of course the stock diff doesn't allow you to take off the other side. The earlier in the video you seen the black O-ring that fits on the other side of this, between this and the actual cylinder. It has a groove and it pretty much stays right in there. But you want to make sure that when you're bolting this down, that it doesn't come out of that groove or doesn't get pinched in a weird way. But it seems to seat pretty well. But like I said, the hardware is pretty short, and I noticed I did it in a star pattern like I normally would, kind of crisscross. I was glad that I used Loctite, so I would definitely recommend at least using some blue Loctite. So yeah, stay tuned. We're going to get this diff put together. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any of those O-rings to work. All of the O-rings that I had were too big. I couldn't, kind of push it down in there and then let it fall into the groove. So I guess we're just going to run it with the outer O-ring. Taking the outer O-ring out would have been too risky. I could ruin it, knowing I don't have a replacement for it. I don't want to ruin it. All I have is, crude tools. I don't have any particular way to get that out. It's pretty well seated in that groove. You can see if you look close. So yeah, I wanted to take it out to maybe put some heat on the bearing so I could pull the bearing out and try to get an O-ring in there. But it turns out even going through all that trouble wouldn't have been worth it because I don't have an O-ring that'll fit. But they did say they'd send me one. I contacted the seller and they said to take a picture and let them know what I needed. But by the time that thing gets here, I'll be 45. So, I mean, really, it's like, it's just it sucks. It really does. I wish it just came the way it was supposed to come. That's what you get for buying pots from China sometimes. Even though this is FID and they seem to carry a little bit more weight in the fifth scale, in the fifth scale community. I am impressed with it. So, the design, everything about it, but that whole pot, somebody dropped the ball when they were building it. And like I said, this is how it came. It came just like this, little bag of hardware and a gasket. And so that's what you get for $65. So we're going to put it together. Stay tuned. All right. So far, so good. It fits really nice. There's no play when I assume, using the stock spacer or washer or whatever you want to call it there. I set it over the bearing. Put my drive cup or bearing on, put my drive cup up through. I always put a little bit of grease in this little channel here. I didn't have anything decent, so of course, being a backyard mechanic, I always got some high temp disc brake grease. I don't know why, but I always like to throw a little bit of grease in there. Somebody said it. I don't know. I heard somebody say it sometime at one point, and I just decided that I would do it. So that's what I've been doing. So yeah, where are we? Sorry guys. That's what we got done so far, and that's where we're at with it. So now we're gonna load up the guts and fill her up. Sorry about the lighting. I just realized I didn't have the light on. So this is 100K, factory team 100K. Everything seems to have fit real nicely. So you guys can get an idea how thick this stuff is. I made the mistake of overfilling my diff the first time I did it, and I won't make that mistake again. I can't do this with the camera in my hand, so I'm going to bang this out, guys, and get the spur attached, and we'll finish this video up. Alright guys, so the 100K is settling in nicely. I just got the spur together, and one of the things that I see, one of the problems that I see, and I'm going to try to do this with one hand, so it's going to be a little difficult, but it's the play that you have here. Let's see if I can show you some of the play. I'm trying to push it with one finger. Here we go. It's that play that I think contributes to leaking, And maybe I need a new O-ring. Yeah, this O-ring is pretty beat up. It's the original one. What I was doing was using an O-ring from a Rovin shock kit. Yeah, I'm an orange Gatorade lunatic. But I was using an O-ring that I have in there from a Rovin shock kit, and that O-ring, it wasn't the same size diameter-wise as the one that fits in that groove. So what I was doing was, it was actually smaller in diameter but really thick. So I was pushing it up over the shaft here, the cylinder, and then when I pushed it down into place, it would fit and fill that, that groove. But I just noticed that it doesn't really fill it as well as the stock one. And it still had a little bit of play, just like this one does. And you just can't get rid of that play. That little bit of play is all it takes for fluid to get behind that, that washer, and before you know it, it's leaking out. You know, and this could be attributed to being a, you know, a cheap King motor spur, King motor drive cups. I don't know. Is the more expensive stuff tighter in tolerance? I don't know. I can't really say because I've never owned any of that stuff. So this is just what, you know, what I'm experiencing. And so, yeah, we're going to put it together and just hope for the best. That is what it is. All right, there she is, boys. I flipped the cups around and put the more beat up cup in the back. Of course, the front took a hell of a lot more damage from the dog bone pin last season because, well, just because the front normally does, but most of the power was unloading to the front, which is what, from what I understand, a lot of us have a problem with this platform. So I'm hoping the 100K I just threw in here and the 60K up front, 30K in the rear, has a little bit of an effect on that, at least enough to where I can have a little bit more power to the rear. Otherwise, I'll look for a more drastic approach. But yeah, it went together well. I definitely recommend Loctite. I used their hardware, and you know, Loctite, of course, because if you're going from a plastic cup to this alloy cup, you're going to want to use it. And to be honest, I don't know that this will solve the leaking issues that I have, but I mentioned earlier filling the cup up too much, like overfilling the diff, and I think I've done that more than once, actually, if I'm going to be honest. So I definitely didn't do that this time. But it's the spur side that normally you find leakage. And, you know, of course, I'm sure you guys are watching thinking, why the hell didn't he just buy a rebuild kit if he knew he was going to buy a new diff? And, you know, to be honest, I don't know. I should have bought a rebuild kit so that I had a new O-ring to put in there. I guess I just wasn't thinking. And I wanted to get it together. So in the end, I've got a beautiful FID diff here, center diff, that does not have the double O-ring setup that I was looking forward to on this side. So what are you going to do? But again, it does have that inner bearing, and of course it's alloy, and it can be accessed from both ends. So that part of it, I'm digging. Quick note about these 5B brakes. Once again, I'm really impressed with this brake kit. But just a quick note, they designed it so this bent edge will sit up against this portion of the cup to kind of keep it steady, which is really neat. But the tolerance here that slides over the drive cup is so tight that once your drive cups start taking a beating on the edge there, they build up kind of an edge and they won't allow the brake disc to slide over. So you basically just have to take a file or, you know, anything and just kind of carve that edge off, or, you know, deburr that edge, and you'll notice they'll slide right back on. All right, there you have it, folks. In the previous video, I talked about using the plastic towers again. The alloy ones were really beat up, and I did a number on them when I tried to do that whole shim scenario with a stock diff, trying to, yeah, long story short, had to go back to the stock towers. I'll eventually probably upgrade. I'd like to at least put an alloy top on it to kind of remove some of the play that I know it has, you know, when the body flex, when the chassis flexes and shit. So that's what we're working with. Yeah, I just hope it works, man. It feels really good. That 100K diff fluid feels great, man. It really does. Bearings feel nice. And we'll see how it goes. Again, thanks for watching, guys. You guys are awesome.